pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. I think back for a moment to a time when you wished you could turn back the clock. Maybe it was an opportunity you didn't take. Maybe it was a conversation you avoided. Maybe it was a decision made in fear instead of faith. Whatever it was, the weight of that moment still lingers. Regret is like a shadow that grows longer as the sun sets on an opportunity. It whispers, what if I had tried harder? What if I had said yes? What if I had believed in myself just a little more? It's those what ifs that can haunt us, stealing our peace and robbing us of joy. But regret is not just about looking back, it's about recognizing that every moment you let pass by without action, without courage, without intention, you are sowing seeds of future regret. And that is why this conversation matters. Regret often comes from one of three places: fear, procrastination, or a lack of clarity. Fear stops us from stepping outside of our comfort zones. It whispers that we're not ready, not good enough, or that the risks are too great. But what fear doesn't tell you is that the greatest risk of all is standing still. Procrastination, on the other hand, tells us that we have time. It seduces us into thinking that tomorrow is guaranteed, that we can always start later. But let me tell you something, later is a dangerous word. Later is where dreams go to die. Later is the graveyard of potential. And then there's a lack of clarity, a failure to truly understand what we want, who we are, and what we stand for. When we drift through life without direction, we wake up one day and realize that we've climbed the wrong mountaintop. But here's the thing about regret. It's not all bad. Regret, when faced with courage and honesty, can be one of life's greatest teachers. It shows us where we went wrong, what we truly value, and how we can do better moving forward. The pain of regret is a signal. It's a call to action. It's a reminder that time is precious, that life is fragile, and that every decision matters. So let me ask you, what will you do with your regret? Will you let it paralyze you, or will you let it propel you?
Every single one of us has regrets. It isn't just you. Everybody walking this earth has looked back at some point and said, man, I wish I had done that differently. Maybe you let a good opportunity slip. Maybe you hurt someone you love. Maybe you wasted years in the wrong situation. But let me ask you this, are you gonna sit there and cry about it? Or are you gonna turn that regret into wisdom? Because I promise you, if you keep looking in the rearview mirror, you're gonna crash into your future. You have to take that regret and learn from it, and make sure it never happens again. Let's talk about how you can do that. Regret is not your enemy. It's not here to ruin your life, and it's not here to punish you. It's a wake-up call, a teacher, a sign that you need to change something. But most people don't see it that way. They let regret eat them alive. They sit in their mistakes and let the pain consume them instead of using it to grow. Do you ever notice how the most successful people have the deepest failures? That's because they learned. They didn't take their regret as a curse. They took it as a lesson. If you can shift your mindset from why did this happen to me to what is this trying to teach me, you've already won half the battle. People who never experience regret are either not living or not learning. If you got regrets, congratulations. That means you've tried, you've risked, you've cared. That's not a bad thing. What's bad is if you refuse to take the wisdom that comes with it. Find out what it's teaching you, because there's always a lesson. Every single regret you have is holding a key to a better version of yourself. But you have to be willing to reach out and take it. Regret is not here to make you feel like a failure. It's here to show you how to stop failing. It's a roadmap, a guide, a warning sign. If you ignore it, you'll repeat the same mistakes. You learn from it, and you elevate. The choice is yours. Regret only becomes suffering when you refuse to grow from it. If you're hurting over something in the past, then the lesson hasn't been learned yet. The moment you figure out what regret is trying to teach you, the pain starts to fade, because now you have power over it. The most powerful people in this world aren't the ones who never failed, they're the ones who learned how to make failure work for them. Regret is not meant to break you, it's meant to build you, but you have to let it. Let me tell you something real quick, the past is a closed book. You can't rewrite it, you can't go back and fix it, and you definitely can't sit there and relive it expecting a different outcome. The past is over. Done? Finished? The only thing you can do with it now is learn from it. Too many people spend their days obsessing over what they should have done, could have done, or would have done. But let me ask you, what does that change? Nothing. Not a single thing. All you're doing is wasting the time you have left, and that's the biggest mistake of all. You have to stop replaying the past in your mind like a bad movie. The more you relive it, the more power you give it. It's like reopening a wound that was trying to heal. Every time you bring it back up, you're stopping yourself from moving forward. There's a reason why your windshield is bigger than your rearview mirror. Because where you're going is more important than where you've been. You can glance back to learn, but you can't stare back and expect to move forward. People hold on to the past like it's some kind of treasure, but all it does is weigh them down. It keeps them from seeing the opportunities right in front of them. If you're too busy looking back, you'll miss the blessings ahead. I get it. Some things hurt. Some things feel impossible to let go of. But at some point you have to decide, do you want to keep suffering or do you want to start living? Because you can't do both. Regret only has power over you if you let it. The past is gone. But today is a new chance, a new page, a new start. The only thing stopping you from moving forward is you. Every single regret you have is a lesson in disguise. But most people don't take the time to sit down and figure out what it's trying to teach them. They just wallow in the pain and never get the wisdom. That's a mistake. You need to look at every regret like a personal teacher. Maybe it taught you not to take people for granted. Maybe it taught you that you need to work harder. Maybe it taught you that you were settling for less than you deserved. Whatever it is, leer at T. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in the same situation again.